Boxing and the metaphysical don't exactly go hand in hand, but my mind works in strange ways, so bear with me. There was a huge upset in the heavyweight division over the weekend, and headlines shout out, Mexico has its first heavyweight champion. Well, not to take anything away from Mexico, or more importantly, Andy Ruiz Jr.'s Mexican heritage, but him being born in California makes him an American citizen of Mexican descent. So, we have one world title claimant from the West Coast, and one world title claimant from the Deep South in Deontay Wilder, which means that we as a country are back. The United States used to own the World Heavyweight Championship consistently, with only a few minor interruptions for 100 years until Lennox Lewis, and then the Klitschko brothers came along with a few other short-term non-American title claimants in between. It has been a long time since the United States could claim our spot in the heavyweight division, nearly 20 years. How cool is it that the United States now control 2/3 of the World Heavyweight Championship? Who's the third? Well, I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and the fact is Tyson Fury won the title from Vladimir Klitschko, and nobody's beat him yet. So, he does have that lineal claim. Now, not to wax sentimental, but I can't help but think about all the division that we've had in this country for the last couple of decades. And connecting boxing to life as I do, I can't help but think that Ruiz's victory on Saturday night could be a harbinger of things to come. Now here's what I mean. Bear with me. I've always marveled at how the holder of the World Heavyweight Championship reflected the era in which he ruled. For example, Joe Louis reigned during the era of World War II. He symbolically beat Germany with his knockout of Max Schmeling and went around the country selling war bonds, symbolizing our unity as a nation in a single cause. Muhammad Ali, on the other hand, came to prominence in the 1960s, a time of civil unrest and anti-war sentiment, the era of black power and government opposition. He fit into that role like he was made for it. I could give other examples from the past of other champions like James J. Braddock's triumph in the Great Depression, showing that a man could come back from the very bottom, which represented what we could do as a nation. Or how Jack Johnson, the son of former slaves, became the first black man to fight for and win the World Heavyweight Championship in a time of great prejudice, showing the racists in white America that the black man was very much his equal. I could go on, citing John L. Sullivan and the rise of the Irish immigrant to prominence, or how Rocky Marciano represented the blue-collar ethic of the 1950s, but I think you get my idea. Maybe I'm seeing something that isn't there. I don't know. I don't really think so, though. The reality is so much more than what we can see with the naked eye. And I believe that we can see echoes of the flow of thought, or perhaps even providence, if we know where to look. So why not boxing as an echo chamber or a sounding board of a greater tide? What's more symbolic of struggle than the purest form known to man? Two men squaring off in the middle of the ring. I guess the point I'm getting to is this. No other country on earth is as diverse in population or culture than the United States, which is a microcosm of the world itself. We are a melting pot of mutts and miscreants, troublemakers and strong-willed, independently minded folk. No other nation in the world can boast the same kind of diversity that we have, which is part of the reason we always seem to be at odds with each other. We are so diverse. No other nation in the world can boast this. One thing that we have in common, though, is our fighting spirit. We don't give up. And that is what pushed Andy Ruiz Jr. through on Saturday night, and that is what led Deontay Wilder down his difficult path to win his own championship. We have many backgrounds to draw from, many tales of hardship and woe, which feed the fires in our bellies from the four corners of the globe and from right here in this land upon which we stand. Yet, we are still here. Andy Ruiz Jr. and Deontay Wilder now own 2/3 of the heavyweight championship of the world. Two men from very different backgrounds, but not so different at the end of the day when all the chips are laid on the table. They are both Americans. Maybe this is the beginning of the U.S. making its comeback in the heavyweight division, and maybe, just maybe, it is the beginning of the U.S., the people of the United States, with all of our diversity and differences, finally emerging from the long night of disruption and infighting that we've had for the last several years. A little too metaphysical, perhaps? but perhaps not. Either way, it feels good, and I can't help but get a real good vibe off of it. And I don't want you folks from other nations to think that I'm talking down on you. At the end of the day, we all have far more in common than we don't. Our differences are highlighted by mass media outlets to keep us separated and keep us from seeing what we share. But that's a topic from another time. For now, congratulations to Andy Ruiz Jr. Viva la raza de los humanos de los Estados Unidos y de los todos el mundo. Nosotros son uno. Apologies if I butchered the language. Peace. I'm out.